Hi, it's David here. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel, My Yard Sale. So I want to first off thank everybody for the subscriptions, the likes, and definitely all the comments. I really appreciate that. I want to kind of let everybody know my situation, why this is important for me to share, and what I'm hoping to achieve. So I am not diabetic or pre-diabetic right now. I haven't even had sugar or even carbs for 2 years. I'm pretty sure if I was to take an A1C, it would be very low, or very low on the scale. So I am not trying to reverse diabetes or prediabetes. I've already done that. My problem is I was probably diabetic or pre-diabetic for 20 years prior to realizing what my situation was. And there was a lot of damage done, metabolic damage done in my body. So that is what I'm trying to reverse at this point. My purpose of having this channel is not necessarily to help people reverse diabetes or prediabetes, because there's 9,000 channels and doctors that can subscribe medication, or hopefully some of those people will tell you you need to be eating keto or eating carnivore to reverse diabetes. But my purpose here is to help people that may have done what I did and didn't get the warning and did the damage, and they're trying to reverse the damage. That's what my hopes with this channel are. But I do appreciate all the comments. Very valid comments, well thought out. And I did look at the comments. I looked at the references that people suggested. But again, I'm not trying to reverse diabetes or prediabetes. That's honestly the easy thing. You just eat right, change your diet, exercise. That's pretty easy. The problem is if you don't get that warning of being prescribed, or not prescribed, diagnosed as pre-diabetic or diabetic, if you don't get that and you continue on with that lifestyle, it does damage over a period of 5 years, 10 years, even 20 years. That it's not, I don't know that it's impossible to reverse, but I can tell you it's extremely difficult. So my hopes are anybody else that's dealing with this, because this is a nightmare. I'm just going to tell you, it's a nightmare. Anybody else that's dealing with this, I hope in a year or 2 years or 5 years, I'll look back at this and say, I'm so glad I did that. Now I'm better. Like, that's what I hope. But in this channel, I'm hoping that I can help other people realize that there is hope, and there are things to continually do to make things better and make things easier. Because again, this metabolic challenge is not impossible, but a challenge is an understatement. And if you don't have all the details of what to do or how to do it, it makes things 10 times harder, and quite frankly, it's probably easy to give up. I can't give up. It's just not my style, but that's why I'm trying to share this. So if you are experiencing metabolic problems, I do think that going to the doctor, getting your A1C, getting tested, all that is important. But I personally did go to a doctor 20 years ago, and they misdiagnosed me. They tried to diagnose me with MS. All they could care about was trying to put me on MS medications. Do I want medication A, B, or C? No blood tests, no nothing. I was diagnosed with MS. If they would have done the right thing and given me a blood test 20 years ago, they would have known that I had a high A1C and that I was probably dealing with, with prediabetes or diabetes, and it was not MS. So what's interesting about that is MS causes lesions on your brain, because I don't know exactly how it works. I'm not a doctor, but how it works is your body tries to insulate those nerve endings in your brain, and it creates lesions which they can see in an MRI. Now, what's interesting is diabetes and prediabetes, longer term, can create those same lesions on your brain. But if they just do an MRI and look at your brain MRI, they're only going to see the lesions. They're not going to know anything about your blood sugars. So if you're diagnosed with MS, I would strongly suggest you get your blood sugar tested, because they're going to try to put you on, the one of the three different medications that they can prescribe for MS, which if you have MS, you probably do need those medications. But if you have anything but not MS, those medications are going to be a waste of time, a waste of money, and potentially could cause more damage than help. I think a lot of these doctors, they don't want to figure out what's wrong and help you solve it. They just want to get the slam dunk of the prescription, so they can call Pfizer or whatever company, or talk to their Pfizer rep, go out to dinner and high five each other about prescribing another lifelong prescription. I mean, I feel like that. I may be wrong, and maybe there are doctors that are not like that, but I know for a fact there are doctors that are like that. I talked to a doctor in Florida many years ago that, again, I should have had my blood tested, and at that point I'm pretty sure I would have been either pre-diabetic or diabetic. But that doctor, I would say that doctor was like a high-level salesperson at a Toyota dealership. That person didn't care about what I needed or wanted. At the Toyota dealership, they were just trying to sell me any car. Used car, new car, red car, blue car, it didn't matter. They just wanted to sell me a car. The doctor that I dealt with 20 years ago didn't care about what was wrong. All they cared about was getting that prescription, that Pfizer prescription, and and that was what I felt. So if you have any of the symptoms that I'm having, I would not allow yourself to be diagnosed with anything. I would get your blood tested. It's very easy to turn your blood sugars around. You can eat right, eat keto, eat carnivore. You get your blood sugar straight, and things start to resolve. But if you don't do that, then this whole metabolic syndrome thing, or metabolic dysfunction, comes up, and all of a sudden your nerves start having, your nerves end up getting on the fritz, your skin ends up on the fritz, your body doesn't work exactly right. And again, for me personally, I had warnings. Unfortunately, I did not have an A1C warning. That would have been helpful. But I had physical warnings that I was going through some other things in my life that I disregarded the physical warnings. I had other fish to fry. I had other things to worry about. And then as as things in my life happened and maybe got worse and more difficult, I didn't turn as much to alcohol. I didn't do drugs. But what I did turn to was sugar. I ate a ton of sugar. I was a Pop-Tart king. I loved Lucky Charms. I could eat so much sugar every day. I am 99% sure that at one point my A1C was probably 10 plus. And if I went to the doctor, they would have freaked out. And of course they would have helped me, but at that point, I didn't know what was wrong. I didn't have a blood test. And quite frankly, I didn't start figuring any of this stuff out until things got so difficult it was unbearable. So again, my purpose of this channel is to definitely try to help myself. At some point, somebody's going to see my story or hear my story, and they're going to have something that's going to change my life for hopefully in the next 2 to 3 months, because this whole year-long cycle or 2-year cycle, 5-year cycle is very difficult. So I want to try to help myself. But I'm hoping that if there's anybody else out there that's experiencing or potentially going down the road to experience what I'm experiencing. Hopefully I'll be able to help them avoid where I'm at today. Because where I'm at today is extremely difficult, almost impossible. And if I can help people avoid this, I want to help. So again, thank you so much for the subscriptions. Thank you for the thumbs ups. Thanks for the comments. I really appreciate it. And I hope that this video or my channel will help somebody avoid what I've had to go through. Because again, if I told you the difficult things I had to deal with on a daily basis or a weekly basis, I think it would scare some people to stop eating cannolis and cut out the Pop-Tarts completely. Because that's what I think my problem was the sugars. It's just sugar. I was a sugar fiend. I still like sugar. I use allulose, non-nutritive sweetener to sweeten coffee and other stuff. I still like the sweeteners, but I haven't eaten sugar in quite some time. Anyways, I hope this particular post, this particular video helps at least clarify where I'm at in my cycle, what I'm trying to achieve, who I'm trying to help, and what they can maybe try to identify with what I'm dealing with and how to avoid it. Because if anything positive can happen, somebody's going to watch my video, realize, holy shit, I'm doing the same thing this guy was doing, and his life is almost impossible. I have 5 years ahead of me that I could fix this. And that person will change their diet, change their cycles, and hopefully avoid everything and anything that I'm dealing with. That's what my hopes are. But again, I want to say thank you very much for the subscriptions. Thank you for the likes. And thank you very much for the comments. I really appreciate it. I read all the comments, and I answer any comments that need to be answered or that I can answer. I answer all comments. Honestly, I have nothing better to do. I wish I did, but I don't. And quite frankly, I like the interaction. And again, if I can help one person, that will make my life worth what I'm going through. So if you have any questions, do me a favor, boink, leave it below. I'll be happy to answer it. And again, all the subscriptions and all the likes, I greatly appreciate. That's very helpful. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.